Yo, welcome to Psychospirilosophy, the study of ideas, sponsored by the Church of Rock and Roll.org, hosted by me, your friendly neighborhood rock and roll shaman, Max Carter. What is abuse? Could be subjective, could be objective. I don't know. Let's take a look. To me, the idea of what abuse is any time that we use subjectivity to describe somebody without doing a further investigation to give ourselves an excuse for not dealing with them. What I have found historically in my own life and in the lives of the many people that I have counseled over the years is the term negative has been used to abuse people quite frequently. A lot of people who make their way to me often in a state of having their life destroyed, feeling as though nobody gets them and that nobody is listening to them, and often being told to quit being so negative. When I sit and I listen to their story and listen to what they're telling me, often what I find is that they're not being negative, they're being honest. And what happened was that they were popping somebody's delusional bubble and holding them accountable for their actions and their words. And rather than admit wrongdoing of some sort, people will write somebody off as being negative and then totally ignore them. Science has shown that when we ignore people, we cause them deep amounts of great emotional pain. Many people who think about suicide and talk about suicide, and those who do kill themselves and go through with it, the notes they leave behind are often nobody cares. I feel ignored by the world. It feels like I don't exist, like I don't matter. And a lot of those people often hear throughout their lives that they're being negative when they're not. They're being honest. You're so emotionally negative. Really? How? Sometimes anger is a good thing. How can that be negative? Showing that you cared and that you loved, and when you lost that love, it caused you to be sad. How is that emotion negative? That emotion is a good and healthy thing, showing that you are a living, breathing, loving, emotional being. There are things that should cause us to be sad, and they're not positive or negative. Things that make us happy are not positive or negative. They just are. But we have this desire to label everything so that we can make a quick decision without having to do any investigation, because that takes time, that takes patience. We might have to invest of ourselves into someone. We may have to take a moment to look back at ourselves while we're listening and accept responsibility for things that we have done in the past to other people, or have done to this person who's telling us why they feel the way they do. The worst thing that we ever do to anyone is to simply label them and then dismiss them. It's a horrible form of abuse, ignoring somebody, labeling them so that you can feel good about ignoring them. Typically, it happens so that we don't have to admit the truth. Recently, in a discussion, somebody told me there is no absolute truth. Psychologically speaking, the only reason to utter that statement is because they live in a paranoid delusion where the paranoia is based on their own fear of being wrong. That's basic behavioral psychology 101. Often, people who live in a delusional state, when they are met with somebody who gives them the simple truth, they are often called names and labeled with terms like negative, so that the one in the delusional state can ignore them and can continue to live in their delusion that causes harm to self and causes them to harm other people accordingly. I'd like to get some of your ideas on what it is I've just presented, see what you think about it. So let's have a discussion about whether or not we should use these terms, positive and negative, to discuss emotion. Let's see if we can dive into it together and find out if maybe it's time to let go of the past because it's so harmful and find something better that helps us look at people and investigate and ask questions rather than just simply labeling. Catch you in the comments. Later.